Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It is my great fortune to be here, assembled amongst all the devotees. I welcome everyone to the ISKCON Scarborough Sunday Feast event. We'll be continuing on the theme of Lord Chaitanya. For those who know, we celebrated Gaur Purnima on Thursday, this past Thursday, which is the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many of us were here on that day? Yeah, lots of people, wonderful. So, on Thursday, Sudarshan Prabhu gave a very nice class in which he covered a lot of topics about the identity of the Lord Chaitanya, about his bodily features, why he appeared, etc. So with that very important foundation laid, we will today look at the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita and draw from it a couple of lessons that we can all learn from in our practical daily lives. Now we know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Radha and Krishna came as a combined form as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how limited are they? They are unlimited. And therefore their pastimes are unlimited, and the lessons we can derive from them are unlimited. That said, I will make a humble attempt to take out 7 lessons today from the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates that we can learn from and apply in our daily lives. So before we go into the details, just a reminder and a refresher. We know that, I've said it a couple of times now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But our founding Acharya and our highest authority in our institution has said, if anyone ever says they are God, ask them to give you evidence. What is the evidence? Because there are many people who suddenly get some powers, some yogic siddhis, and they claim to be God. And the test that our acharyas follow is there has to be three tests. There has to be acceptance in sadhus, amongst gurus, and in the shastras. In the scriptures, there has to be reference that this personality is the Supreme Personality of God. Now let's look at the scriptures. In the scriptures, throughout all the Puranas, the major Puranas, Lord Chaitanya is listed as the Supreme Personality of God. He's mentioned there. Although he's mentioned in a Channa avatar form, in a hidden incarnation. In our very own Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto and the 7th canto, there is very clear description that Lord Chaitanya will come in a golden form and he will spread the Hare Krishna movement throughout the world. So that is the first evidence. We see so many scriptural references. There's more than 10 Puranas that mention Lord Chaitanya, or 10 references. Then our gurus, we know there are 4 Vaishnava Paramparas in the world. And all of them authentically understand and appreciate Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of God. In fact, our own parampara, when the altar opens, you'll see all the gurus, they go all the way up to Lord Brahma. And in that specific succession, all the gurus accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of God. So that's the second test. The third test, so Sadhu, Guru, and Shastra. These are the three. We touched on Shastra, we touched on Gurus, now Sadhus. So in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, there was an event. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a hidden incarnation. But for 21 hours, Sapta Prahariya Leela, the Mahaprakash Leela, for 21 hours, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu openly displayed his opulences as the Supreme Lord. He showed various forms as Radha Krishna, as Krishna Balaram, as Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, in front of all the devotees who were there. And all of those sadhus accepted Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has come to spread the Hare Krishna movement throughout the world, spread the chanting, inaugurate the Yoga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So he has said a very, very important statement which I'd like to quote here. He said, a sadhaka, a devotee like us, if we're infested with anarthas, which means all the dirty things in our hearts, like I have. When we are infested with anarthas, we should worship Lord Chaitanya. When we are free from anarthas, we may worship Krishna. While yet unfit due to anarthas, anyone who deceptively attempts to approach Krishna directly will be slain by Vishnu, Krishna's Vishnu aspect, just as Agasur, Bakasur, and Putana were killed. So we know in our lives that is the primary reason why every time a deity was installed in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada had Radha Krishna and Lord Chaitanya or God Nitai there. The worship of Lord Chaitanya as a sadhaka is extremely important for us because that gives us the opportunity to clean our anarthas. So in the Chaitanya Mangal, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has 5 major biographies. We have Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada translated. But there's another one called Chaitanya Mangal. In Chaitanya Mangal, there's a very, very important statement that is made. In the Sutra Kanda, in Song 12, Lord Chaitanya clearly mentioned something. He says, and I'll just read the translation, but there's the Bengali there as well. Taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the holy names, I will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality in the hearts of the conditioned souls. What will he take? A sharp sword. The sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the holy names, and he will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality. We see when Krishna appeared as Narasimhadev, he destroyed Hiranyakashipu. As Varahadev, he destroyed Hiranyaksha, killed completely. Lord Ram killed Ravana. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a very different purpose. He kills the demoniac mentality within the hearts of everyone. And then he goes on to say, if some sinful people escape giving up religious principles and go to far off countries, that's all of us here in Canada, right? Far off from India. then my commander-in-chief, Senapati Bhakta, who is Srila Prabhupada, my Senapati Bhakta will come and he will deliver them. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioned in our scriptures in various places that he will come and he will deliver. So we've spoken about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the scripture, Srila Prabhupada in the scripture. So with that, let's dive right in and look at some of those lessons, and if there's time, we can open up for some discussion. But before we speak about Lord Chaitanya, we chant the Mangalacharan, the invocation for Lord Chaitanya, which is, everyone can repeat after me. So Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So we know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal, in Navadvip town, and his parents were, anyone can mention his parents' names?
Shachi Mata
Sachi Mata
and Jagannath
and
Mishra.
Jagannath Mishra. So their parents, Lord Chaitanya's parents were Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. And Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata had 8 daughters before Vishnu, before he was born, before his brother was born. But 8 daughters who actually died after they were born. So it wasn't really a miscarriage, it was the child actually died. And medically and scientifically, it's known that that is one of the greatest pains that a parent can ever experience. To lose a child. And imagine not just 1, not 2, not 3, but 8 in a row. So for them as parents, it was a very, very traumatic and painful experience. But despite those losses, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra Prabhu maintained their deep faith and devotion. They maintained their deep faith and devotion. So the first lesson that we can take from Lord Chaitanya's life, in fact, is in his first appearance, is that the advent of the Lord in our lives doesn't come easy. It's not going to be simple. We chant Hare Krishna and Lord Chaitanya appears in our hearts, appears in our lives. It's not going to be that easy. There is a lot of purification that goes through. It is explained in our scripture, it is called Anartha Nivritti. We get rid of all those anarthas, the dirty things that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke about. But all of those sufferings and all of those losses are a stepping stone to finally get closer to the appearance of the Lord himself. Look at just how much Srila Prabhupada had to endure to bring this institution and establish it here in the West. Write all these books and make a system and a structure that we can follow even today in 2025. So, if we go through hardships, whenever we chant Hare Krishna, whenever we take to the spiritual process, there will be difficulty. Srila Prabhupada said that. That anartha nivritti is a process that happens. But we do not lose faith, just the way Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra did. We keep the process going. So that is the first lesson. Lord Chaitanya's appearance does not come easy. The second thing, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, he appeared on Falgun Purnima, and there was an eclipse, and everyone was chanting Hari 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 Hari. Even the Muslims were taking bath in the Ganga and chanting Hari Hari. What a perfect environment for the inauguration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Hare Krishna Nam Sankirtan to take place than the appearance of the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya appeared, he had beautiful childlike pastimes. It's described more in the Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So, there's the pastime of that snake coming, Lord Chaitanya lying on it, just like Anantashesh. Lord Chaitanya sitting on dirty pots, Lord Chaitanya getting stolen by 2 thieves, and then they were brought back. So all of these beautiful pastimes happen until the point where Lord Chaitanya turned 15, 16. Then he got married. He got married to Lakshmi Priya. And there, at that time, you would get married at a younger age. And once you get married, you start to take on responsibility. So you have to earn an income to look after your family. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being a Brahmana, he wouldn't go apply with his resume and say, can I have a job? Brahmanas in those days would only do Brahminical services. So he took on the role of a teacher in another school, and he was teaching grammar. Now we know Sanskrit, for those who understand a bit of Sanskrit, it is very technical on the grammatical side, but it's very flexible as well. So you can, there's many ways you can write a sentence. You could write it in one way, you could read it the way reverse, but it'll all mean the same. So for that, you have to understand grammar. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching beginners grammar. So at that time, or he was teaching Sanskrit grammar, at that time, in India, there was a great scholar named Keshava Kashmiri. Keshav Kashmiri, he was a scholar who understood the Vedas in and out. And he was a great devotee of Saraswati Devi. And because of that, Saraswati Devi bestowed immense wisdom to him. Yeah, the Vakya. He could compose scripture. And but he was proud. So he was going around India defeating all the scholars. Now it is explained at that time, the way we watch sports today, like soccer and cricket. 500 years ago in Navadvip, it was a debate match. Where you take logic, you take argument, and you would debate, and there would be hundreds of people watching and listening and understanding. The level of intelligence at that time is unmatched. So Keshav Kashmiri went around the world defeating everyone. All the scholars were bowing down before him. Then he came to Navadvip, and when he came in, there was an entourage. There were people blowing, playing drums and blowing conch shells, and he was riding on a palanquin, so proud. So then he came into Navadvip, and in the afternoon he was taking a walk by the bank of the Ganga. And there Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was with his students giving them a class. And so Keshav Kashmiri walks up to Lord Chaitanya, beautiful 16-year-old boy, but a teacher. So he says, oh, you are Nimai Pandit, I've heard of you. And I'm told you are the beginner's grammar teacher, very low level. You teach beginner's grammar. I am the advanced Digvijay Pandit. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say anything. He said, oh, you're the great Digvijay Pandit. I offer my obeisances to you. And so he said, we're next to the river Ganga. Can you please compose some prayers in the glorification of Mother Ganga? And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is written that within a short span, he composed 100 verses. 100 verses that had never been written before. Right from his head. And it said he was speaking like the blowing wind. Is that the blowing wind that we hear there? But it sounds like he was speaking like the blowing wind. 100 verses, boom. And everyone was like, wow, how did he do that? And Lord Chaitanya said, that is very nice. Lord Chaitanya said, can you tell me the 5 faults that you made in one of the verses? And this Vijay Pandit was shocked. This beginner's grammar teacher is going to tell me I made mistakes? So he said, what do you mean mistakes? So Lord Chaitanya, and there's a very lengthy description, verse after verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dismantles and completely annihilates. One of his verses had 5 mistakes, and he was shocked, he was stunned. Never happened before. He's defeated hundreds of other scholars, and this young boy, a beginner's grammar teacher, defeated. He was in shock. He didn't know what to do. He was stunned. At that time, Lord Chaitanya's students started laughing. Now imagine, you are a Digvijay Pandit, you are a global leader, a subject matter expert as they call it in the corporate world, and you get defeated by a young boy. And the other kids, the students in the class were laughing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately stopped them and said, no, don't laugh. And this Digvijay Pandit, Keshav Kashmiri, he didn't know what to do. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, don't worry, maybe you're tired, you composed such an elaborate prayer to Ganga Mata, so please, go home, take rest. We can meet again tomorrow and we can discuss more. I'd like to discuss more scripture with you. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely annihilated him without pinching his ego. And that is a major lesson for us. Srila Prabhupada said, ours is a preaching movement. We preach. In fact, you can see in our movement, anyone who reads Srila Prabhupada's books, anyone who listens to his lectures, gets all the power to be able to cut through any argument, any logic, any debate. You're able to defeat that. Who is the Lord? What is nature? Who are we as the body or the soul? Who is the Supreme Personality? Completely annihilate those. But many times we do it in a way to hurt the other person. And they then say, I don't want to have anything to do with this Hare Krishna movement. Because these people are so arrogant. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed by his example, he did not hurt the ego of the person. He completely dismantled his arguments without touching his ego. You'll find again, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then took sannyas, he went to Varanasi. And then there was a great sannyasi, Mayavadi sannyasi named Prakashananda Saraswati. He had thousands of sannyasi disciples. And for them, it's knowledge and wisdom and study of scripture is very important. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there and very humbly said, I will sit where your shoes are kept outside. And they were moved by his humility. And that transformed their hearts. Keshav Kashmiri, his heart was transformed. Again, obviously, that night, Keshav Kashmiri went home and prayed to Mother Saraswati. And Mother Saraswati said, by the way, that is no ordinary person. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I get my wisdom from him. So you go surrender to him. And she said, my blessings to you for all the years of devotion is that you surrender and you get connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you'll find, if anyone genuinely worships, does not know the Supreme Personality and worships any of these personalities, the Devatas or Devis, if there's genuineness in the heart, they always connect them to Krishna. You find a lot of people come to our movement from that background. They're like, we were looking and we found. You find again in later pastime, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again very humbly dealt with it. So the lesson that we learn is that humility and sensitivity transforms people's hearts. And as Srila Prabhupada said, ours is a preaching movement. We need to transform people's hearts. We have the highest philosophy, yet we also have the highest love. Golokera Premadhan. The highest wealth of the highest planet, according to that chart, is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it's come here, and we need to distribute those. So one time a man came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, throughout your Bhagavad Gita, you've written about Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness. He said, there's Sankhya Yoga, there's Ashtanga Yoga, there's Jnana Yoga, and all of these things you call them Krishna consciousness. That is not Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, okay, where is it said? So you open the book, see, it says Krishna consciousness. Okay, good, where else? You open another page, see, it says Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, where else? It says Krishna consciousness. So he pointed out, and Srila Prabhupada said, okay, thank you. And he left, and the disciples were fuming. They're like, Srila Prabhupada, why didn't you stop him? You could have dismantled him completely, just the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have. And Srila Prabhupada said, it's okay. He was chanting Krishna's name all that time. He kept saying Krishna, he kept saying Krishna. He's benefiting. That is the whole mood and purpose with which we should preach. So, second thing, we want to transform people's heart. Give them love, give them respect, give them sensitivity. But obviously, we manage our principles at the highest level. So that's the second lesson. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated Keshav Kashmiri, but around that time, his father, Jagannath Mishra, passed away, left this mortal world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to Gaya. And it is explained very clearly in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He went there to perform the Shraddha ceremony. Now, every responsible son has a responsibility to perform that Shraddha ceremony for the welfare of that soul. And then later on, when he took sannyas, his entire desire was to go to the Vrindavan. But his mother, Sachimata, said, if you go to Vrindavan, I will never get to see you. So my desire is you please live in Jagannath Puri. And Jagannath Puri is like the second room to this house of Navadvip. There people come and go, and I'll get to hear about it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's completely independent and free. He could have said, that's okay, I want to go to Vrindavan, I will go to Vrindavan. But no, he accepted his mother's instruction and he lived in Jagannath Puri. And his heart was all about going to Vrindavan, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But just see the approach that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took to his worldly responsibilities, his dharma, as a son, fully responsible, fully accountable. And this is how we should also be. Sometimes we all feel that we've come to Krishna consciousness, we've come to Bhakti, I don't need to worry about anything. Any other responsibility doesn't need to matter. But that's not the case. That's not how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada was initiating his early disciples, there were just a handful of devotees. Brahmananda Prabhu was one of those devotees at that time. And Srila Prabhupada, before giving him his name and being said, go offer obeisances to your mother. And they're white-bodied, they're American. And the lady was like, what should I do now? Her son is putting his head on her feet. She cannot relate to it. But Srila Prabhupada was very pleased. And that is the instruction Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey to us. So the third lesson we can draw from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes is that we should take our dharmic responsibilities very seriously. Our families, our parents, our children, our work, It is all an offering to Krishna. We are given these bodies for a particular reason, and that's how through these bodies we came into Krishna consciousness. So let's take that very, very seriously. Performing our dharma and offering all respects to our parents in our spiritual pursuits pleases the Lord, and the Lord reveals himself accordingly. So then what happened? After he went to Gaya, he performed the Shraddha ceremony, he met his spiritual master, Ishvara Puri. And Ishvara Puri gave him initiation into the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Ishvara Puri was the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, it is explained that Ishvara Puri, okay, I'll come to that, but Ishvara Puri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. Now, if you read our Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's an enormous personality. And Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, who are the associates of Lord Chaitanya, were his disciples, Madhavendra Puri. Also his disciple was Ishvara Puri. Now, who is this Madhavendra Puri? Like we all know, we are not these bodies. We are spirit souls. And in the spiritual world, we have our eternal forms. And we are here somehow lost, confused. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are starting to understand we are not the bodies, we're spirit souls. And we need to get back into our original loving service to Radha and Krishna, Krishna Prem. So, like that, we are conditioned souls, but there are eternally liberated souls who come here, like Srila Prabhupada, who deliver the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the same way, Madhavendra Puri was a desire-fulfilling tree in Goloka Vrindavan, where when Krishna would have his pastimes and Radha and Krishna were there and they needed a break, they just wanted a private moment, they would go and sit under a special tree where none of the gopis, none of the gopas were there. It was just the two of them. That tree is Madhavendra Puri. He is open to seeing that deep, deep love between Radha and Krishna. And he came down, and it is explained that he is the root of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tree. And he freely gave out love of Godhead. So his disciple is Ishvara Puri. Now Madhavendra Puri, at an old age, he was just meditating on Radha and Krishna, and he was old, invalid, he could not move, and Ishvara Puri was his disciple. And Ishvara Puri served Madhavendra Puri in that state, washing him, cleaning him, and he wasn't even able to move much. But Ishvara Puri, with all love, was there to serve his spiritual master. And it is explained that that is the qualification with which we are able to attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this personality, Ishvara Puri, as his guru for one who was serving very humbly and without any ego. There is a book called Gaura Gunadesh Deepika, which is it's like Deepika means the light, and it illuminates who these people are in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and what these places are in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. It explains that Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu Sadashiva combined, Gadadhar Pandit is Radharani, Srivas Thakur is Narad Muni, all of these personalities. Murari Gupta is Hanuman, all of these clarity is there. But there's no mention of who Ishvara Puri is. He's such a special and hidden personality. So when Ishvara Puri, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was young and he had his school, Ishvara Puri came to Navadvip. Now Navadvip is a very beautiful place. Lots of palm trees by the river Ganga, so nice. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is living there, and Ishvara Puri comes, and he's passing through. This is much before he took initiation. So Ishvara Puri came to the house of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya served him prasad and being quiet and served him nicely. And Ishvara Puri said, you are such a scholar. Ishvara Puri said, I have written this book, or I've written some text. Can you please edit this? Look at it and check, where some corrections can be made. And Lord Chaitanya said, sure. And Lord Chaitanya took, and he found a couple of mistakes, and he said, there's a small error here, but everything else is fine. And Ishvara Puri said, okay, I'll look at it and we'll meet tomorrow. The next day when he met, Ishvara Puri said, actually that is not a mistake. And he corrected and defeated Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya was, I have defeated. Thank you. Very similar thing happened with Srila Prabhupada. When he met his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in 1922, India was under the British rule. And Srila Prabhupada was part of the Gandhi liberation movement. And Srila Prabhupada said, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur immediately told him, go preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the English language in the Western world. And Srila Prabhupada said, but we can't do that. We're bound. We need to get freedom first. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur repeated it. He said, no, we don't need to be liberated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is so urgent, it cannot wait. And therefore, just the same way Srila Prabhupada was defeated by his guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was defeated. So the mood with which Ishvara Puri serves is called the servant of the servant of the servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have easily accepted initiation from Madhavendra Puri, but he's showing by his example, we have to be the servant of the servant of the servant. It's a very high principle, but it is a founding principle that we aspire for throughout our lives. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has written a Shikshashtakam, 8 prayers, in which there's a very important verse. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi saishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. To be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, ready to offer all respect to others and not expecting any respect in return, then we're able to chant the holy name constantly. So that is the mood we should all aspire for in our spiritual lives. Please don't be humble like a blade of grass and tolerant in your work world. It will not work. You will be out of a job very soon. This is meant to be spiritual principles applied in a spiritual setting. So we move on. So that was lesson number 4. Lesson number 5. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas and then he lived according to the direction of his mother in Jagannath Puri. But he wanted to travel. A sannyasi needs to travel and preach. So he went to South India. In the Madhya Lila 9th chapter, there's a description of his travel in South India. But when he was traveling with a servant. And that servant was Kala Krishna Das, a young brahmachari, no responsibilities or anything, so very humble, very sincere. He can travel with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for years if needed. And this Kala Krishna Das, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, I'll go alone, I don't need him. And everyone convinced him, please take one servant with you. Because you'll be chanting, who will carry your water pot, who will wash your clothes for you. You focus on your chanting and let the servant go with you. He's not going to be a disturbance. So Kala Krishna Das went with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he was in South India, Kala Krishna Das, who was personally serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, washing his clothes, cooking for him, cleaning for him, he got distracted by the gypsies called Bataharis. They completely took him away from the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to personally come and grab him by the heads, explain that they attacked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And somehow he didn't get hurt, he had to take his disciple out. Now, can you imagine this personality has such close proximity to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's personally seeing Radha and Krishna. He's personally seeing the propagation of the holy name in South India. But he gets distracted. So who are we as, let me say for myself, who am I? You all are amazing devotees, but who am I as a sadhaka? We have to be extremely cautious. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, brought him back, didn't say anything about it. And then when his yatra ended, he came back to Jagannath Puri. He called Nityananda Prabhu. And he said, Nityananda Prabhu, you sent this brahmachari with me, and I had to save him. I had to go out of my way to save him. Now I don't want to have anything to do with him. He can go wherever he wants and do whatever he wants. Now we have to pause here. This is the personality who has come to deliver all the fallen souls. How is he rejecting this person? We've all made fall downs, right? We've all slipped and had some issues sometime. But if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to reject us, how are we going to get delivered? So in this pastime, even if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected it, he was heartbroken. Nityananda Prabhu and all the other devotees said, don't. You stay with us, we will engage. Nityananda Prabhu engaged him in a very intimate service of carrying this message. He said, go to Navadvip, talk to Sachi Mata and tell her everything about the journey of Lord Chaitanya. It will give so much pleasure to Srivas Thakur, Sachi Mata and all the devotees there. And they haven't heard from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all these years, and now you're going to come and deliver all this message. And they were so pleased with Kala Krishna Das. And then he came back and he conveyed the message. So the key message, the key lesson that we can learn here is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most beneficent, very, very merciful, freely giving love of Godhead to whoever is unqualified or qualified, not looking at the qualification, but giving love of Godhead. But he's also very strict. But his disciples are even more merciful than him. And we find that even in the Mahaprakash Leela, Mukunda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not talking to him, not revealing who he is. And the devotees, the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were heartbroken. That everyone, all these hundreds of devotees got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Why is this Mukunda not getting? So when we think about it, when we're with devotees and we see everyone getting mercy and everyone getting Mahaprasad and we're not getting Mahaprasad, we feel like, I'm being left out. But the devotees of Mahaprabhu are showing that they are not happy just receiving it themselves. They want everyone to receive it. It has to be a collective approach. So the lesson there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is strict, he's most merciful, but his devotees are even more merciful. It's explained like a telescope. When you're trying to look at Saturn in outer space, you need a telescope which has many lenses in between. And that lens will make that image that's far away a lot clearer and more available. So when we have a lot of devotees between us and Lord Chaitanya, through them, the Lord is a lot more clearer and more easily present to us. There's one very beautiful pastime in Srila Prabhupada's Leela when he was sick. So Srila Prabhupada had 2 heart attacks before he landed in America. And then he had a 3rd heart attack in 1965, 1966 in New York City. So he was very sickly. And there was one of his servants whose name was Kartikeya Prabhu, Kartikeya Das. And Srila Prabhupada was ill and he needed to have very specific food. And this Kartikeya Prabhu thought, you know what, I'm going to cook something really nice for Srila Prabhupada, but it's going to be healthy. So he made a whole grain halwa. So, it's usually made with semolina, right? But he made a whole grain. So it's a little austere. It's a little not that sweet. But Srila Prabhupada needed that because he was ill. So he brought it to Srila Prabhupada and put it in. Srila Prabhupada is sick. He looked at it. He said, what is this? And he said, this is, Prabhupada, this is very healthy for you. It's very good for you. And Prabhupada, it's recorded in Prabhupada memories. With his left hand, Srila Prabhupada rejected. He said, take it away. I don't want to eat this. I'm sick. I'm irritated and you're bringing this to me. And this devotee's whole intention was, how can I serve Srila Prabhupada? So he was heartbroken. He poured his heart into making this healthy dish. So he takes that dish and he's crying. He's like, what should I do? Then in the temple, there was a picture of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru. So he goes to the picture and he starts praying. He's like, please, I've made a big offense. I just wanted to please Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to make him healthy. And now he's displeased. He's not eating anything with his left hand. He's rejected it. What should I do? And he's praying to his Param Guru. And suddenly from the room, Prabhupada says, Kartikeya, come here. So he comes running, he said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. He says, bring that halwa. So he brings that halwa and Srila Prabhupada gobbles it up. He said, bring some more. And then he eats that up and this devotee was ecstatic. We don't know what was that transcendental communication between Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, but the example is that the acharyas, the gurus, the devotees, all the way up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their mercy is fully accessible to us, and their mercy is compounded and even more intense than directly approaching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is lesson 5. I think we're doing good with time. I just have 2 more to go. So lesson 6. Once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu settled in Jagannath Puri, so he took sannyas. The minute he took sannyas, he ran as fast as he could towards Vrindavan. In those days, there wasn't trains or cars or Uber, or you take a flight. You walk. But he was in such enthusiasm. He was running flat out, straight. He ran non-stop. Nityananda Prabhu kind of brought him back to Shantipur, tricked him, and then the whole conversation with Sachimata, and Sachimata said, no, go live in Jagannath Puri. So then he lived in Jagannath Puri, but his heart was, I want to go to Vrindavan. He just wanted to go to Vrindavan. But he would not just get up and go. He would always ask the devotees, can I go to Vrindavan? And the devotees were like, oh, no, it's actually Rath Yatra is coming. So there's a lot of work. Can you please stay? Don't go. They didn't want to be away from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they wouldn't give him permission. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he wants to go, he can go like this. So many times we were like, I'm going, I don't care what others think, I just have to go. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not leave until the devotees give him approval. So after Rath Yatra, he go, like, can I now go to Vrindavan? They said, no, Janmashtami is coming, there will be more celebrations, please you stay. And after Janmashtami, no, the month of Kartik is coming, and like that, they kept deferring for more than a year. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just very humbly just wait. So the very, very important example here is obviously at the end the devotees realize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not happy. He wants to go to Vrindavan. And they then said yes, but they were so hard. And the descriptions are so nice. They were fainting when Mahaprabhu was leaving. But the very important lesson for us is, one, whenever we enter the dham, whenever we desire to go to a spiritual place, always take the blessings of all the devotees. You never know, that blessing is the one that will actually unlock the door for you to enter into the dham. But also the second thing is we have to depend on devotees for our spiritual life. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, a very, very prominent disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who's no longer here, he said at the end of the day we have to remember that we just have each other as devotees to help us. Because think about it, when we are at the end of our lives, leaving our bodies, it's these friends, these devotees who will be there chanting Hare Krishna, reminding us. Because our consciousness will be so disturbed with what's going to happen that we won't be able to focus. And these devotees will be there. So we need the association of devotees. We need the presence of devotees to be there. So that's the sixth lesson. Always depend on devotees for your spiritual advancement. And the final one, lesson number 7. There's a little bit of a subtlety in this particular pastime, which I always find very, very enchanting. So in the Antya Leela, there's a pastime of a devotee. So we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living where? Jagannath Puri, right? And where was he originally from? Navadvip. So every year, the devotees would walk from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. It would take them 1 week to walk. Can you imagine walking for a week to Jagannath Puri? But they were all in ecstasy because they were going to go see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they would walk, and there was one devotee who would organize all that. We would organize, okay, we're going to stop here, we're going to have prasad here, we're going to eat here, we're going to sleep here. And remember, this is West India, so there's a lot of rivers. So they have to cross rivers, there's a lot of tolls that you have to pay, a lot of people trying to steal from you. So Shivananda Sen was that one devotee who organized that entire traveling party. And it is not an easy thing. Those who have organized any events or any programs, any Rath Yatras, it is a very difficult task. There's so many things that could go wrong. And many times there were delays, the boats are not enough, the prasad is not enough, accommodation is not that great. So devotees would, tolerate. But there was one personality, Balaram, Nityananda Prabhu, who openly displayed his anger. And that anger, we read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was a transcendental blessing. But he's displaying that in an angry way. He kicked Shivananda Sen in the chest and he said, I curse you that your son will die. Obviously the son didn't die, and Shivananda Sen was saying to his family, like, you don't understand. This is the best blessing we could have ever received. This is the blessing from Nityananda Prabhu. But, so all that the family was disturbed, but there was his nephew, Shrikant Sen, who was very disturbed. He says, my uncle is organizing all this. He's going through all these troubles. And yes, there will be delays. It is the material world. We all say that, right? It's the material world. Things will happen. Why are you blaming me? And Shivananda Sen was very calm and quiet, and he accepted everything. But this Shrikant Sen, his nephew, could not tolerate it. So what did he do? What are some of the options? He could have made a big issue about it. He could have shouted at Nityananda Prabhu. He could have stopped the whole procession. He didn't do any of that. He ran ahead to Jagannath Puri. They were very close to Jagannath Puri, so he could go ahead on his own. He went on his own in a very disturbed mindset, and he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, there's an etiquette when you approach them. As men, in India, you don't wear upper cloth, you kind of wear just each other. But he didn't look at any of this etiquette. He went straight to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were like, wait, you're not following etiquette. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could see he's disturbed. And he said, no, that's okay, come. Shrikant said, come, what happened? And then he told the whole story. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, no. Shivananda Sen is actually getting immense blessings from Nityananda Prabhu. It is actually his blessings in disguise. He's an Avadut. Nityananda Prabhu is a very difficult personality to understand. So he was actually giving blessings. And so in this pastime, we understand so many things. We're in management, when we organize events, it is very hard. Anything that you do, there will be troubles. So one, let's not overreact. Whenever a problem happens, let's escalate and not disturb the society. Escalate it with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the leaders now. And the second thing is, the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealt with someone who is in a disturbed state of mind, again with a lot of sensitivity. We find when devotees come with an angry, experience that I went through this and this is unfair, we start giving them philosophy. You're not this body, Prabhu. You remember, this is your karma from your past lives. None of that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely pacified him, completely, relaxed him. And when Shivananda Sen came and all the devotees came, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his associate, give everyone my remnants. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pleased. But Shivananda Sen is organizing all this that's happening, that we're going to Jagannath. So, in a recap, that's a wrap from mine, but I'll recap the 7 lessons. The first, the advent of the Lord doesn't happen easy in our lives. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life itself. Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata went through 8 or lost 8 of their children. It wasn't a miscarriage, it was actually the death of their children. So whenever we're taking to Krishna consciousness, there will be anartha-nivritti, there will be purification. And we don't lose our faith in that. The way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealt with Keshav Kashmiri, with Prakashananda Saraswati, with Sarvabhauma Bhatta, he defeated them, but in a way that didn't pinch their ego. Completely, sensitively helped them out. Number 3, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so lovingly served his parents, performed the Shraddha ceremony for his father, listened to his mother, moved to Jagannath Puri. So doing our dharma will always please the Lord to reveal himself. Number 3, being the servant of the servant of the servant, just like Ishvara Puri. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would even accept that person as their guru. Number 5, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very strict. He's municipal, but he's very strict. But his devotees are even more merciful than he is. Number 6, we depend on devotees for our spiritual advancement. Just the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not go to Vrindavan until the devotees gave us their approval. So let us depend on devotees before we do anything. And the last one, whenever there is devotees working together on a project or in any temple, there will be difficulties. But we need to respond to those difficulties, but not react in a way that is disruptive to the society. So with that, I'll pause. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Yeah, 10 more minutes.
So we can take questions. Questions? Is that okay? Yes, Prabhu.
You were mentioning about Ishvara Puri. What is this? Is the incarnation of something, or just like Madhavendra Puri?
That's so Madhavendra Puri is that desireful country. It's in that Gaurakana Deshika, but Ishvara Puri is not mentioned there.
So no one.
So no one really knows who he is, and that again embellishes his qualities. That he wants to remain hidden. He wants to serve Madhavendra Puri, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as his guru. So he's definitely a very, very elevated personality of spiritual. Thank you. Anything else? Please, any additions? Those devotees who know these pastimes? Any corrections? Any other questions?
So,
Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
So Ishvara Puri, so he knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is himself is a Krishna.
Yes,
He knows,
he knows. Yes.
but he didn't tell anybody.
Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood is to be hidden. In fact, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when anyone would say, "You are Krishna," he would cover his ears and say, "Oh, Vishnu, Vishnu, don't say that. I'm just a devotee." That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his whole mood was, don't call me the Supreme Personality of God. So his spiritual master Ishvara Puri definitely knew that, and they didn't want to share that. Throughout the Leelas, you'll find when devotees find out that this is the Supreme Personality of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bless them and say, "Keep this to yourself." Like there was this Brahmana who would travel around, and he came to Navadvip when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 5 years old, and he would make an offering. We all know that pastime. I'll say it in summary. He would make an offering and he would offer to Krishna, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Nimai would come and eat.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, oh, what is this? You've eaten this. This is meant for Krishna. And that happened 3 times. And the third time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you were calling me to eat. I am that same Krishna. And then he showed him. And this Brahmana was blown away. And the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do not tell anyone what you have seen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole mood is to be a devotee. And imagine if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always taking that humble position. You know, as devotees, no matter how advanced we are, we should always take a humble position. Like, we are humble. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want his glories as the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be publicized. He didn't like that.
So he is like showing us as a devotee, like he is the devotee of Krishna.
Yes.
He's showing everybody.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
Hare
that's
Krishna.
his. Yeah, Hare Krishna. That's his whole mood, to show by example. Srila Prabhupada explained that he gave the Bhagavad Gita and he told everyone, you know, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, forget, you know, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. And everyone was thinking, how do we actually do that? You know, and then Krishna said, okay, I will come and show you. Just like a teacher shows, you know, this is how you write A, B, C is 1 plus 1, advanced calculus, the teacher has to show us.
Yeah.
And then once they show us is when we understand and we can start doing it. So the same way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and showed as a devotee, how do you live as a devotee? Therefore all these kind of lessons are important to know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, just something I noticed. Lord Chaitanya, he's a devotee. But Radharani made Krishna a devotee. That's how I see it. Radharani made Krishna a devotee. That's how high Radharani is. She made God a devotee. That's what I see. That's what I see. You know.
Yes.
God is a devotee towards himself.
Yes.
And Radharani calls that. She made him a devotee.
Yes.
Normally, these people make us devotee.
Yes.
But Radharani make God a devotee.
Yes.
That's how superior Radharani is.
She is supreme. It's explained that there are 3 external reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and 3 internal reasons. And the internal reasons are everything to do with Radharani. The first internal reason is he wanted to understand the glories of Radharani's love. Now, you know, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has all opulences and full enjoyment at the highest level. Yet he finds his devotees are even more blissful than he is. He's wondering what's going on. I'm supposed to be God. I'm supposed to be the highest enjoyer. But Radharani is having more enjoyment as a devotee of Krishna. So he wanted to understand the glories of Srimati Radharani's love. Then to understand the qualities of Krishna that Radharani alone sees and relishes. That only Radharani sees the glories of Krishna. No one else sees Krishna the way Radharani will see him. That's the second reason. And the third is to understand how much bliss Radharani experiences in loving Krishna. And that love for Krishna is pure, absolutely pure. When we think of love in this material world, it's between a man and a woman and it's all contaminated. There is no consideration of one's own senses or enjoyment. That spiritual love is when we are giving that love, giving all enjoyment to our beloved. That is the true definition of love. So yes, Radharani is the entire reason. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhajami Adipurusha Tamaham bhajami Govinda Adipurusha Tamaham bhajami Hare Rama, Hare Rama.